We're here today to take a look at the current or the previous OneMap application of the change request process. And we'll start with a little historical on the as-is process at the beginning. We've made some iterations, and now we've come to a version 2, and I want to kind of go over that process to provide a overview of how that's done, and also some general step-by-step processes of getting that deployed into your environment. So we'll start with the as-is process in the past, where CRs were submitted by Excel format here, and it goes to the MCCC for review and so forth. These were all done manually. Files were placed in various locations. Any updates would be kind of communicated back and forth. Upon authorization, the change request is distributed to all orgs for situation awareness, and then the MCCC is notified of the status of the signed approval. So with those key steps in place, however, all steps are manually done. Folders are created at various locations. Files are difficult to ingest in the format that it's in. And then tracking of files and emails and approvals is very difficult at best because of the amount that comes in there and the location and the timing. So it's hard to compile all that together. And also, there's no master tracker or dashboard for quick status check. So a lot of times you don't know exactly what's all in play, who's in play, and so forth. So it's difficult to track without a master tracking capability. And then the coordination of the CR execution by date in a calendar is not available. So it is very difficult to determine, who's doing what and when. So to have this capability visually and then to be able to kind of quick mouse click here and there would make it so much easier. So thus we're going forward with this new process. With this new phase 2, what we plan to do, what we're doing is we are having any change request fill out an online Microsoft form. Okay, this is a group shared project form, Microsoft form. Uh, Information is captured and via Power Automate. Files are uploaded to a SharePoint directory, as well as a list item is created that has a link to those files. So now you don't have to remember the name of the files or where the files are at and so forth. It goes to your SharePoint list, and you can order it in however you would like it. At the same time, an automatic email is sent to the requester and also to the approver, the authoritative person, a stakeholder, to say you have a new CR in play or had been created. Please, move forward with your activities. So upon review and discussions with the the requester, initial authorization is updated, which is it's created as submitted. So when it first did, it's submitted in the SharePoint Online. Again, upon CR authorized, if yes, if they do whatever assessments in between, any CAB reviews to approve. Once the button is flipped from submitted to approved in SharePoint Online, so that way it's a simple user interface and a common interface for this whole process. And we'll share that a little bit later. The status is captured and tracked in Power BI dashboard for monitoring. And then file links are also included. So that way, from a dashboard high level view, if you need to get to the details of the file, update the file, or update whatever that you need, that is clickable through a link in Power BI. So let's get to the meat of things here. So that's the high level process. So we first start out with a form. So in general, this is just example with change management form, who's providing it. There are, who the organization, the dates. The key on the date is this is military time here, and it's captured in UTC because units could be all over the location, all of the world. And then when the change request starts and when it begins, the reason for it, any impacted organizations that this change request may impact, at the enclave it's in, any device configures and items or anything that's may be impacted here, the risk level, and any other points of contact that may need to be apprised of this change request outside of the requester and the administrator and the CAB personnel. And general plan of action tests and backup plan. Many times these are very detailed documents. That's where the upload file comes in. So especially when an outage is expected and so forth, If you need to upload a file, you just click this yes button, and then this item 21 shows up, and you can upload, as I've already uploaded some files to indicate that. So the next step, what happens is you can request to send an email receipt of your response to ensure that it went through. Once you hit click submit here, just let it go through. There you go. You can print or get a PDF of the answers of what you submitted, or submit another request as needed. And any follow-up information, you can go through these information here. This information is available. We'll provide this updated once we have all the contacts appropriately. What you'll see next here is when a new response is submitted, this process is already in place because once it's submitted, it's an automatic trigger. Okay, it captures information from that group forms. Okay, and you see some coding there. That's basically an idea of that form. What happens next is from that form, we will get all the response IDs that you just just submitted, and that's captured here in memory. What then is next is we create this item in this change management request SharePoint list. Okay, this is right now it's in the an example as which SharePoint site it goes to. All the data that was submitted, that was added, this is captured here for each of these areas. There's some logic, such as approve email. Okay, it starts out when it's first it's submitted as the authorization status. There's no emails to be sent out yet because it hasn't been approved or denied or whatever the case is. But once we approve it or deny it, the logic part of this logic flips it to a true. That way, when this another submission goes through, it doesn't go back and email the same person as the same email. So that way, it only affects new submissions. So that way, it doesn't clutter up one's email box and confuse them. Once all these items are updated here, as you can see, there's stakeholder. You can add whoever the stakeholder that needs to have access to those CR requests and information. They should be just add their email here. Once that's also as part of that process, a new CR folder is created in the SharePoint document library. As we can show here, this is in the Teams. We created this document folder path, and this is where all the folders and files go to based on the type of change and the response ID from that form. So that way it can tie the response ID to the type of change request that is for. So that way it'll make it easier to find it in the future, for whatever reason, for archival and retrieval purposes. Once that folder is created, we also create the link to that folder. So that way in SharePoint Online, also through Power BI, we can directly gain access to that. Then certain files are updated here for sharing links. Then there are conditions set for getting the file content. We can kind of go through more details, but this logic gets the files that was uploaded, creates the key information links to that, and then it moves it to certain locations and then uploads it to that uploaded CR file with that naming convention. Then as part of that, you have condition 2, which is that kind of goes through it moves file to that location as you saw earlier. Now, that's for the initial process. Now, once everything has gone through, we will see that this new CR has been created here, and which is 106. So as you can see here, all the details here, the logic I just showed you, they're false. But let's say I come in and I want to approve this. Once I go through that, I just click that item. I would go to the see here, authorization status. Okay, initially it's always set as submitted. If I want to approve it, I hit approve and it's saved. Okay, and it automatically triggers this next flow here. Okay, and we'll let it kind of. I'm sorry, it doesn't automatically trigger it because it's based on occurrence. We don't want to hit it every day. We want to say based on the every day that we want to do it at a certain time. So right now I'm going to force it by manually testing it to go through and hit the flow here and done. And you'll see it go through its flow. And it's getting the list, the items, and it's verifying the status of that and updating the status to true or false. And it ran successfully. So as part of that, you can see here, coming back to this here, it'll flip the switch from false to true on the email. At the same time, you can kind of see uploaded CR files here. The pond. This is the files that I just uploaded a couple minutes ago for that test. And then, as you can see here, I just received this email showing that the pond 106 authorization is approved. Here's the date and time that it starts, who requested it, organization, all the details that you want within this change request is here in this email, so everybody is alerted. At the same time, whoever the requester gets this same email showing that their authorization was approved or denied. So that kind of keeps the comms moving forward. Okay. So now once all that is in play, the next impactful part is Power BI. Okay, this is the file that directly links to that file. This is Power BI desktop. However, we can place it online depending on the licensing requirements. I'm going to go ahead and refresh this data because I just added one more. 14, there's total, and then approval state now is 9. You can see that the approval was just made. So you can just click any one of these, and it'll provide the details for that particular organization. Or you can look at based on authorization status, you can look at approval denied. So if I clear that here, I can just click anything that's denied, and I can kind of see, okay, there's 3 denied, whatever amount, and you can kind of see. There you go. And also you can see there's 3 more that needs to be reviewed. Okay. Hang on just a second. So you can kind of play around with this thing here. And the power to it is this. If they have a review, they can go directly and it brought me right to here. So if there's any updates down the road for whatever reason, that power is here in this Power BI. It allows you that direct link. Okay. Here's the next powerful part of this. How do we keep this into one location versus going to Power BI desktop, which you could. It's an option. But what we can do is we can go to Microsoft Teams, depending on your licensing, whether it's a premium capacity or Power BI Pro licenses. Within your SharePoint site, you can add a tab to show the Power BI dashboard here, which this will be updated based on a sequence, however often you want to update it. I've set it to daily. So since I just created a new one, it won't update because that data won't be available until tomorrow because of a schedule that I created. But this, again, you can still click this Power BI link here. So it'll take you directly to that location. So that is the power of using this capability because it's all in one user interface because you use chat, you use here. Also, you can go to SharePoint Online list and get to that last item, 106, and do exactly what we did from SharePoint Online. And you can go to here and just update the authorization status to whatever you want. And that's how you can move forward. And so now all that here is now tied between all the key services and tools, really. You got Forms, Power Automate, SharePoint Online, Teams, and SharePoint Online. Please let me know if you have any questions, but that should do it for now. Thank you.